Hi everybody, and thanks for joining Stamp with Tracy for today's Well Wednesday. Today we're going to be working with a stamp bundle, actually a suite, that you can find on page 51 in the current mini catalog that runs January through the end of April. And it actually starts on page 50. And on page 51 it shows everything that's included in the suite. But I'd love to show you close up some of those items. So first off, we'll start with our stamp set. Here's the stamp set. I absolutely love all these happy little characters, the two little sayings, the stamps. Just absolutely love those. And then here are the dies. And then we have the embossing folder, raindrops embossing folder, which is really, really cool. It makes the little indentations of all the rain. And we have the embellishments that are called loose daisies. If you remember, I did use these last week, I believe it was, on my projects. I just love these beautiful little daisies. We'll be using those tonight too. And then there's the beautiful designer series paper. This designer series paper is so pretty. This first sheet, you get two of each of these sheets. I'm just gonna show you one of each and flip right over through it. So you have this beautiful, pretty design here of the flowers and the clouds. And then you have a nice little gingham design on the back. You have the fox and the turtle and the bunny on designer series paper, and the dies do fit this to cut it out. So that's another great thing about that. I love when the designer series paper and the dies match. And then there's a striped background on that. And then we have some cute little pig and the turtles again, and some more clouds. Another design on the back there of like the colored raindrops. Here's one that has a bunch of umbrellas, open and closed. And the other side of that is beautiful flowers. And then here we have some raindrops. And it's really hard to see on this paper, but it's like, it has a shine, almost metallic shine to it on different things, like all of the little umbrellas are that way. And on some of the other pieces, on this, it has a little metallic look to it. If I could go like that, possibly you can see it, that those raindrops, it's absolutely gorgeous. The other side of that is a pretty design, again with some more little flowers. And again, here's some more of like a raindrop look, and I doubt if you can see it, but it does, there you go, does have that nice gloss to it as well. Absolutely love it. And there's the other side of that. That's such a pretty design on there. So that's the designer series paper. It's 12 by 12, and you get 2 sheets of each of those. And the colors that are included in that are the basic black, balmy blue, Cajun craze, flirty flamingo, mango melody, and old olive. They're the colors that go through that designer series paper. So I've prepared 2 cards that I'm going to assemble for you, and they are actually a different type of little fold that I wanted to show you, and they both are just a little bit different. So on this one here, I have a balmy blue card base, and this card base measures 6 3/8 by 5 1/2. So that's my card base. And then it is scored right here at 2 1/8. Now I put the designer series paper down on here, and that designer series paper is 6 by 5 1/2. So it gives me a little bit of an edge on both sides there. And then I also had a strip of that here, and that is 5 1/2 by 1 7/8. So this one was a full piece, and I just put it in there and scored again. I had the score mark, and then I scored again so that I could fold that nice and easy. And that's the umbrella designer series paper that's in that playing in the rain. So then I have a piece of balmy blue again, and this balmy blue is 6 by 3 1/2. And Then I put a piece of designer series paper on it that was just 1/4 of an inch smaller all the way around. So that's 3 1/4 by 2 3/4. And that's the raindrops. So this is going to actually be glued down on the inside of my card. But I actually want to make sure that I have it nice and centered. So I am going to try to eyeball it here. First off, let me go ahead and add my adhesive to it. Again, remember that you're gluing the back of this. And I'm holding it up in the air, just trying to get, I actually want to go a little bit higher, but I'm trying to get it centered right to left. Trying not to get my head in the picture too. So this is what our card is going to be like. I think I'm a little bit off here. So I'm very gently taking this back, and I'm going to just, there we go. Now I have already went and cut out my fox. Now this one I did stamp. This isn't from the designer series paper. And I colored it with my blends. I used the Cajun Craze and Balmy Blue, light and dark, to color the fox and the umbrella. And I'm going to put that up towards the top of this little piece here. And then I have another little small piece of Balmy Blue. And this little piece of Balmy Blue is just 1 inch by 2 3/8. And I put my mini dimensionals on the back. Take the little stickers off of that. And I'm going to adhere that to the bottom part of the little book. And again, you can see I'm just putting that across the top because I don't want to adhere this to the card. So I'm just making sure I have it across the top here. So this sort of makes for a different type of little card here. I just thought that's, I don't know what the fold is called, but I think it's really cute. I did get this idea from a fellow demonstrator online at one of the Facebook pages that demonstrators can go to, and that's where I get a lot of my ideas from. I did change it up with the paper and stuff that I use, but I did get this fold idea from her. And then you can put whatever sentiment you want on the inside there. And then when it stands up, it stands like that. So that's the first card there that I wanted to show you. Now here is another one that's very similar with the way that it opens. It has the same sort of look to it. It's just going to be a little bit different. I did go ahead and glue this in. Oh no, I didn't. So let me go ahead and do that. So I have a piece of the designer series paper that had the clouds and the flowers scenery. And this card base, again, is Balmy Blue, and it is 5.5 by 8.5. And this designer series paper right here is 5 1/4 by 4. And I did have to sort of center that, so I just cut a strip 4 inches wide of that designer series paper, and then I cut off the top and the bottom to get this position look of the sky and the flowers off of that large piece of designer series paper. Then I have 2 strips of the designer series paper. One is the raindrops, and that one's going to go there, and this one's going to go here. And these strips are 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. And again, what I did with this card base is it's at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, and then scored again at 2 1/8. So when I folded it, and then I came back with it. And I want this piece here is going to be on what I would call the inside. And then I'm going to do the raindrops on the front. And this all has a nice 1/4 inch edge as well. So there we have it. And then we have this. Now this, I did stamp Oh Happy Day on the card, right on the designer series paper. And I did want to make sure that when I did do that, I had it covered, and I will show you. That was one of the last things I did. So I have this piece of basic white, and this piece of basic white is 2 1/2 by 3 1/2. And then I took a piece of this that was cut off when I told you I trimmed this up, and I'm going to use the opposite side of that, so I have sort of that gingham look. And that is going to go on top of this piece of basic white. Again, this gingham side of the designer series paper is just a 1/4 inch smaller. And on that one here, when I adhere this to the front of the card, I want to eyeball it, and I only want to put my adhesive on the back side over here. And again, I'm trying to pretty much center that in the front, half straddling this fold here. And then I have the bunny that I did, again, stamped on stamped on basic white cardstock, and then cut it out with the die. And if you wanted to just cut it right out of the designer series paper, you wouldn't have to stamp in color. But I love coloring and using my blends, so that didn't bother me at all. And I used my mini dimensionals on here. And putting that there. Now I did have a little piece of when I stamped this little piece here of the puddle, there is a die to cut that, but I wanted the larger puddle, and the other one was small. So I had cut out a bunch of little small ones, and I was going to just put a bunch of those underneath of there. But I decided I think I liked the larger puddle look better, and I just want to glue that down. And I colored it with blends. And you can see where it cut out right at the foot there of the bunny. So it's like splashing in a puddle there. And then I have an umbrella that I cut out of the Balmy Blue, so I didn't stamp it. I just cut it right out of the Balmy Blue cardstock. And I added my mini dimensionals to the back of that. And we just have him holding that, or her, whatever it is, the bunny there. And then with my glue dots, I wanted to add, not with my glue dots, I'm sorry. I wanted to add with my glue some of the larger pieces of the flowers. And these flowers are two-sided. So we're just going to add a few of those down around the bottom here. I'm just putting a little dot of glue on there. Would have been better to have my tweezers out. Let's see. And maybe one more. They say to do things in threes, right? So we have the same look of the card, just made a different way. And you can see that when I went to stamp Oh Happy Day on this one, I just made sure that, you know, I was in the center, so I knew it would be covered by that. So there we have those two fun fold cards. One's using the fox and one's using the bunny. And this one says rainy days are better with you. And this one shows Oh Happy Day. So I absolutely love this set and this suite, and I hope you like it too. I have a few more ideas I'd like to show you. But remember, for our Wow Wednesday video, you need to like and comment so that you have a chance to win these two cards. So these will be the two cards that you'll win if your name is drawn and you like and comment. So let me show you just a few other ideas I did. This was just stamping instead of cutting out, stamping and doing some coloring. This is pale papaya and melon mambo, stamped with the Memento black ink, and the flowers are colored in with the Highland Heather and Granny Apple Green. And then here's another one, and this is the, this was designer series paper from something else, but it's a cloud look, and I used the delicate designer edges, scalloped edge. I can't remember what this is from. I can't remember if that's delicate edges or not. I need to look really quick, see if I can figure that out for you. Nope, that's not. So I take that back. I apologize about that. And then I used a heart from one of those Valentine sets that came out in this catalog as well. Love You Much, I believe it was from. And I colored this one in. I don't have all of my blend colors with me, so I had light black, and of course that was way too dark. So then I took my color lifter, which I've shown you in the past. I love to lift that color back out. And so I made them look gray. I did the same thing down here in the puddle that I colored in. So that's another one. And then this one here, I just thought was so cute. I had saw another demonstrator who done something so similar to it. This one is designer, just a thick basic white cardstock, and it was 5.5 by 8.5, and then I cut off 2 inches of it, and then those 2 inches I ran through the embossing folder to give me a little background here, and I used my stitched shaped dies. Make sure I'm calling that the right thing as well. And I used the circles from that, yeah, the stylus shapes, sorry, stylus shapes. And I cut out one on a piece of Highland Heather, and then I cut out a larger one on the white. I tucked this piece of Highland Heather in right up to the score mark and glued it on there. Then I glued the white piece on top of it, so I have that little edge there. The turtle was die cut, stamped with Memento black and colored in with my blends. The same thing with the flowers there, stamped, and then these were stamped, and I actually fussy cut those. So I have the flowers going all the way across the front, and you open it like that. And then Oh Happy Day was one of the smaller stylus shaped circles with the little holes all the way around it too, giving it that nice little indentation. I just thought that was so cute. And then one more that I absolutely love, and this one was by Angela Wilson Mayer, and that's where the idea came from. Mine isn't exactly like hers, but it's a lot like hers. So I have from the Contour, Color and Contour, the dies are called scallop contour dies. And that is where this scalloped die came from. So that one, this scallop die was from the scalloped contour dies as well. And this big rectangle out of Highland Heather came from that same scalloped contour dies. And then I had a piece of basic white that I used my blending brushes with Granny Apple Green and Tahitian Tie. Cut out one of the bridges as the dies from the Playing in the Rain dies. And what I did with those is, I know it's hard to tell looking at it, but I popped it up by just gluing this piece down here and glue here, and actually, you know, pushed it so that it rose a little bit. Now, granted, it may get smashed a little if it goes in the mail, but it should pop back up, because if you push it all the way down like that, it just is going to come back up because it's pushed in to make it pop up. I hope that makes sense. This umbrella was from the designer series paper, and if you can tell, it does have that nice little sheen to it. I know it's very hard to tell on the video, but it has a nice glossy finish to that umbrella. And then the flowers I stamped on scrap paper and cut those out. And then this is a tree root I cut out of Cajun Craze. So to me, it looks like the little bridge going over the water. And as I said, I did get that little idea from Angela Wilson Meyer. I just thought it was so cute. Then Happy Day I stamped and just cut that out. So it's the Oh Happy Day stamp, but I only used the Happy Day part. So don't forget to use my March host code. If you have an order under $150, I'd love to have you place, if you do order under $150, to add that to my host code. That is what I use to order more products, so that I can send all these free cards and things to you. And also sometimes winners get embellishments and things like that I'm able to purchase with that when I get enough to qualify for hostess benefits when people use the host code if their order's under $150. So thanks again for joining me. Don't forget on Wow Wednesday to make sure to like and comment for your chance to win. You will have the opportunity to win these 2 cards. And again, the suite is called Playing in the Rain, and you can find that on page 50. Well, I'm sorry, the suite itself is called Rain or Shine. Rain or Shine. And that suite sells for $85.25, and it's on page 50. And then on page 51, you can take a picture of everything. You can see the designer series paper, the stamp set, the dies, the embossing folder, and the embellishments. So those 4 items can all come together. You are getting the bundle price for the dies and the stamp, and then you're getting that designer series paper, embossing folder, as well as the embellishments. So thanks again for joining me, everyone. And don't forget to like and comment for your chance to win these 2 cards. Happy stamping.